Now, from your local source, TV 20 News at 6 in high definition.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Just into the newsroom, 2 teenagers are now convicted of murder.
Just moments ago, the verdict came in for 17-year-old Kyle Hooper. TV 20's Natalia Martinez joins us right now outside the Marion County Courthouse. And Natalia, you say it was a very emotional day in court.
Yes, that's right, Paige, it was. And that's because 2 teenagers, just 16 and 17 years old, were just convicted of first-degree murder.
I'm losing two children today.
A mother in shambles after her 16-year-old daughter is found guilty of first-degree murder and a jury deciding the fate of her 17-year-old son.
My son is not a monster. He has a heart of gold.
Amber Wright, now a convicted killer in the murder of 15-year-old Seath Jackson, who was beaten, shot, his body burned in a fire pit.
Because this 15-year-old sitting in handcuffs was responsible for the murder of another 15-year-old, Seath Jackson.
Prosecutors told Wright's jury the teen lured Jackson to the house to be killed by Michael Bargo and didn't feel remorse.
They didn't see my daughter the next day. I did. She laid on her floor in a fetal position and was vomiting and sick to her stomach.
Her defense suffered a blow after a confession was played before Wright was read her Miranda rights.
It's something that the appellate court will have to deal with, and the appellate attorneys will deal with that issue. It's an issue that will be taken up on appeal. She's a 15-year-old child. That's the only thing I can say.
She was bullied into that confession without her Miranda rights read to her.
Then it was her brother Kyle Hooper who took the stand, nervous and panting during questioning.
I'm sorry to her and her family that happened to their son. But I'm also sorry for the other victims in it too, who's lost.
With his sister already convicted, the jury was handed the case to deliberate late in the afternoon. And Paige, Dave, the jurors just came back moments ago and they delivered a guilty verdict for Kyle Hooper. Now both Kyle and Amber face life sentences now that they have been convicted. Reporting live from the Marion County Courthouse, Natalia Martinez, TV 20 News.
In Gainesville, a second attack within a month at Tent City, but this time a suspect has been captured. Almost a month ago, we told you about a shooting in Tent City where an outsider apparently shot 2 people but was never arrested. Police say this time 2 men living there got into an argument over cigarettes. That's when Richard Humphrey stabbed the victim and ran off. A woman called police and they were able to catch Humphrey, who claimed he was acting in self-defense, but police say that's not what happened.
When the victim produced his cell phone in an effort to call 911, that's when Mr. Humphrey knocked the cell phone out of his hand and cut him 1 time on the throat.
The victim was taken to the hospital and will need surgery. Humphrey is charged with attempted murder and hindering communication with law enforcement.
It's time now to take a first look at the weather. Should we get more rain this evening?
We had some this afternoon. Bill, will we get some tonight?
There's a possibility of a few more pop-up showers and maybe an isolated thunderstorm. We're going to start out with viewer photos and show you the circle of life. Yeah, we have 3 photos from the same spot, the same nest, to show you how the birds go from egg to baby birds to adult birds. Kind of cool. Richard from Citra, thank you very much for sending those photos in. Now taking a look at our radar outside. We've been watching a few of the showers, and you see most of the activities heading off the East Coast and down to Orlando. We're also watching this area back out to the west, kind of a line here. As that moves more to the south and east, it could set off a few more showers and thunderstorms in Marion County, Citrus County, and Levy County. I'll be watching for that over the next couple of hours. So it's still a chance of a evening shower or thunderstorm. Temperatures slowly dropping through the 80s where you haven't had the rain. Where you have the rain, you're already in the 70s. You're going to stay at that temperature throughout most of the evening. Have more than that in your forecast in just a few minutes.
A series of drug busts in Bradford County put 15 people in jail. Sheriff's deputies have announced the results of Operation Clean Sweep. The last raid took place a week ago, but investigators have not been able to locate 4 of the suspects. TV 20's Yarima Farinas is following the story. And what did the drug task force find in those homes?
Well, Paige, they found everything from drugs to weapons and even a bulletproof vest from a University of Florida officer. We drove around one of the neighborhoods and spoke to a man who lives nearby. He doesn't want to show his face because he doesn't want any problems, but he's not afraid to say he doesn't like what's going on in his neighborhood.
I never used to have to lock my house, take my keys out of my car, anything.
This man tells us he's lived in this neighborhood in Stark for 15 years, a place where there wasn't any drug activity. But it's been changing the last couple months.
I mean, we get twice the traffic, 3 times the traffic that we used to have.
The trailer you see here is the first house that the Drug Task Force busted in a 4-month investigation called Operation Clean Sweep. Here, they found lots of drugs and guns.
The amount of cocaine we found at the first house was about 16 ounces, a half a kilo. That's not common for a street-level dealer to have. That's usually a mid-level dealer who supplies the street-level dealers.
Sergeant Tommy Sapp tells us they waited a couple days and then hit the next house, where they found more cocaine, marijuana, and stolen property.
In the second search warrant that we did, we found a small dog locked inside of a car. The dog's ribs were showing. It was very malnutrition.
There were 94 marijuana plants in the third house, along with more guns. Operation Clean Sweep put all these people behind bars, a total of 14 men and 1 woman. But these 4 you see here are still on the loose. Bradford County Sheriff Gordon Smith tells us how the whole operation came together.
These are people that live with each other their whole life in this community that started telling on each other. And it was all about saving themselves.
Sapp told me the street value of all the cocaine they confiscated during the bust was about $50,000, and the marijuana plants were worth about $94,000. This operation is done, but Sapp says they will continue on working on busting more drug dealers in Bradford County. Yaremi Farinas, TV 20 News.
A 22-year-old man is in the Bradford County Jail tonight after deputies say he admitted he had marijuana at his house. It all began when a Bradford County deputy pulled Joshua Touchton over for speeding. The deputy says he asked permission to search his car, and that's when he found some marijuana. And then all of a sudden, Touchton apparently told the deputy that he had more marijuana at his house.
We searched the residence upon his consent, and we found approximately 1.5 pounds of marijuana and several other items of drug paraphernalia.
This is some of the evidence they seized from Touchton's home: marijuana, $2,500 in cash, and a bunch of bongs. He is currently behind bars.
State troopers are reporting a hit-and-run crash in Dixie County that happened this morning. Well, the victim was a building. The driver was headed northbound on U.S. Highway 19 when the vehicle traveled off onto a grass shoulder. Trying to get back on course, the driver lost control, busted through a fence, and struck the side of a business in Old Town called D.O.'s Place. The crash caused $5,000 in damage to the building. Troopers believe the vehicle in question is a GM product, but that's all that they know about it at this time. Alachua County commissioners took a step forward today with one tax proposal and a firm stand against a second one. Commissioners voted to put a 3/4-cent tax proposal for road repairs on the November ballot. The commission also restated that it won't move forward with a tax proposal for transit projects. Commissioners set a public hearing for July 10th where residents can comment on that roads proposal and possibly about the transit proposal that didn't make it as well.
It's always better to tell the truth, especially when it comes to the law.
And failing to speak when a crime is committed can be just as bad as lying about it. Those who don't come forward will have to answer to a tougher law. That's coming up on the TV 20 News at 6.